Okay, so we talked about exponents and powers. This is the basic stuff. The bottom number is the base. The top number is the power or exponent. Grouping symbols. Everyone remember what a grouping symbol is? Parentheses. So there's a little line that goes through there. So it's just regular parentheses like that. Or you can use square brackets. It means the same thing, it's just a different look. Or you can use these as brackets too. They talked about you can use the calculators again today. The power key on these little calculators, the example he gave was, it said it was X to the Y key. This one is actually a Y to the X key. And it's right above the divide symbol. So you just hit the number, hit that, and then put the exponent. On the big calculators, remember what key you gotta use? The caret key. It's in the same spot. It's above the divide symbol, but it's a caret key like that. So 6 to the 4th, you'd hit 6, press that, and then 4, and then just press equals, and it would give you the answer. All right, good job. So, $15 to the 1st just means there's one 15. That's it. So the answer is 15. Now, if you put it into words, you would actually write it out. We're not going to spend time writing it out, but 15 to the 1st power. This would be 5 to the 2nd power, or easiest, 5 squared, yeah. So 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25. 6 cubed is 6 times 6 times 6, which is 216. So remember, you can do it that way, but it's easier to use the power key. You would just go 6 raised to the 3rd, press equals. Now, sometimes they want us, and I'll show you when I give you the assignment, they say write it as a power. If they tell you, or they'll say write it as an exponent, because remember power exponent's the same. If they tell you that, that means don't solve it. If you have 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, and they tell you to write it as a power or an exponent, you just write 3 to the 4th. Okay? The only time you have to actually figure it out is when it says evaluate. Sometimes they have it like this: 2 times x times x times x times 2 times x times 2. They're in different orders, but if you write it as a power, there's a 2 and how many of them? So you write it as 2 to the 3rd. That takes care of those. X to the 4th, because there's 4 of them. 2 cubed, x to the 4th, if you can read that. Hopefully we'll get those off soon. So again, solving them, they have expressions for us, and you have to put the numbers in place. So let's just do these two down here. 3 to the nth plus n cubed, and it tells you what n is. So you put 5 in place of the n. So this would become 3 to the 5th plus 5 to the 3rd. I just replaced the n with a 5. So you can punch that in exactly the way it looks on the calculator. 3 to the 5th plus 5 to the 3rd is 368. This one has parentheses around it, so you got to replace that C and this C with a 2. So it would be 3 times 2 to the 4th minus 18 parenthesis to the 2nd. So you could punch this in exactly the way it looks using the parenthesis keys. So you could put parenthesis 3 times 2 to the 4th minus 18 parenthesis squared. All calculators, remember, have a squared button too, an x squared, because it's used so often. Or you could use the up arrow key too, it doesn't matter. Just remember this, sometimes people do this, they'll go 3 times 2 is 6, and then they'll raise that to the 4th power. Remember, the only thing being raised to the 4th power is the 2. So, if we figured that out, you get 900. Okay? So, everyone's probably